Olá, bom dia. And it's a hello from us, midday here in Portugal, in Europe. How are you? How you doing, Mrs. M?
I'm really well, thanks. Looks good, right?
Well, we listened to some feedback, and we've been busy over this weekend.
We have,
not slept very much, and changed the studio.
We have changed it around, and I have to say I'm much happier. I mean, we can look at each other now, can't we?
And, we can without upsetting people. Because where are they looking? What's she looking at? Why is he looking over there?
Exactly.
Yeah, we can.
We can, like, if you have a tender moment, we can have tender moments.
We can arm wrestle,
which I would win.
Yeah, she would. I'm not going to do that live on air and face that sort of humiliation. But how are you? Let us know, please, in the chat how you're doing. Look, Mother Mulberry's Tea Club.
Oh, hi, Mother Mulberry.
Tell us about Mother Mulberry.
Well, do you know what? Mother Mulberry came to my channel, my astrology channel, and was wanting to find, I think, more manifestatory type things.
Okay, excellent.
That's right, isn't it? I remember
Mother
that
Mulberry,
correctly.
tell us, if you want to, please tell us more about yourself. Our very special guest today is Tom Evans. Is that what you were just about to say?
Yeah, he's a master manifester. We've known him for years, haven't we?
We have. Well, 14 years I was working at this morning. It sounds like, several decades or lifetimes you're talking.
No,
but maybe we have.
Yeah, I'm sure we do know him for many lifetimes. He was at our wedding.
He was.
He was our kind of wizard, wasn't he, at our wedding?
He was, yes.
So he's joining us in just a moment.
Sounds like quite the wedding, that.
Yeah.
Yes, so happy to be here. Yes, indeed.
We're happy you're joining us. Where are you joining us from, Mother Mulberry?
That's always good to know. And we know other people are watching as well, so please say hi.
Yeah.
Whoever and wherever you are, and we'll bring Tom on in just a moment. You know how it works. We like to say hello. We like to come into the moment. That's what the show's called. And Tom has got a little exercise for us to do exactly that.
Yep.
And we are continuing our conversation here on New Reality TV about our experience, not just us two, but our collective experience, this community's experience of the new reality and what that means to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested in what's going on for people in different parts around the world right now, because, I don't actually watch the news, but every time I do flick on the TV or the internet, all of a sudden I just feel quite overwhelmed. And I just wondered how it is for you wherever you are. So I'd love to know where you are and what's going on for you.
Yes.
And how you're staying calm and zen, or maybe what you might think you need to keep calm and zen. But this is, I see this as an ongoing conversation. Right?
Yes, and a daily oasis of peace every weekday at midday at this time in our country anyway. I mean, it's always interesting to find out what time you're tuning in, and we take our hats off and headphones off to anyone who's watching at 6 or 7 in the morning. So we really appreciate that sort of effort. And we want to create an oasis of peace and calm. You can find out about the news in all sorts of ways these days, and very intense it is too, but not always come to a place where you can breathe out and then breathe back in again and feel at peace. So who better to introduce us to ourselves in this moment than our dear friend Tom Evans. So let's bring him onto the screen. I'm not allowed to have applause anymore, Tom. She's banned the sound effects.
We can make our own sound effects.
Organic sound effects. Yeah. How are you, Tom?
How are you doing?
I'm great. Great to see you, and honoured to be on this amazing show. I was watching a few last week, and I just love the energy and the the way you're just bringing people together in a way that hasn't been done quite before, even though you've been doing this quite a long time.
My goodness, haven't we?
Yeah, I do get what you're talking about there, or the sense of how we have been circling this moment. And it feels like we're coming into quite the alignment here of a number of ideas, a few years of experience, and a particular time in human history as well.
Yeah.
I'm loving how that's lining up.
Absolutely.
Now, go on. Actually, no. I will step in here. I will step in here, and because this is the moment, and I am moment monitor, generally speaking. Tom,
I think I'm vibration monitor. I like to monitor.
Are you the energy monitor or the moment monitor?
Yeah, okay. I'll
in this
take
two-person class.
Yeah,
okay.
go on.
I'm going to walk up to the front of the class and say, okay, as moment monitor, Tom, our esteemed guest today, how do you, as a person who helps people metaphysically, energetically, how, with the basics, do you help them come into this present moment and enjoy as much as there is to enjoy our human potential right now, right here?
Well, great question, Carl. And the simple way of doing it is to come back to the breath. When I got involved with this thing called meditation, bearing in mind I've never been taught meditation, I've just studied what other people did and sort of morphed this thing from best practice of some wonderful other guides. I noticed this thing. I read this book by Amit Goswami that was on my podcast ages ago, and in the book he mentioned this thing about the human mind, how the normal human mind, and that's only the normal human mind, this isn't a given completely, can only have one thought at a time. So if you think about what you're thinking about, then the thing you were thinking about gets replaced by the thought you're now having about the thing you were thinking about.
Yes.
About that for a minute, right? And so what you can do to get into the meditative state, all you get the mind go quiet. Bearing in mind, meditation is not about a quiet mind. It's about just having a different relationship with your thoughts.
Yes.
The difference between the various thought forms and thought types is all you have to do is think about something else other than the thing you're thinking about. And the easiest thing to think about is the breath, because we've all got to breathe anyway, otherwise we're not here.
Yeah.
And I always like to mix in something slightly different about the breath, because when we become more mindful about the things we're not mindful of, we become generally more mindful in itself. So we're pulling ourselves up with our bootstraps. So a simple thing to do, I want everyone to, I'll just stand up a little bit. So everyone to put their hands on their belly so that their fingers just touch. Okay. And then they breathe out so the fingers part. Now to do that, it means you're engaging the diaphragm. You can't do that without engaging your diaphragm, because we normally breathe using the intercostal muscles around our chest. So we breathe out. As we breathe out, the fingers come together again.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Then we breathe in and out. So if you were to do that 5 times every morning for at least 5 breaths, which is around sort of 30 to 45 seconds, you will always get into a meditative state without doing anything, without having to go to an ashram and study meditation. That is as difficult as meditation is. But you know me. I don't like to leave it there. I like to go to one other stage.
Hang on a sec. I just would like to say that's brilliant, Tom, because I'm rubbish at, I'm good at guiding myself into a meditation, but my monkey mind never switches off. So for me, I do things like going for walks and washing up, anywhere where I'm using both my hands, like not juggling, but I used to spin poi and get myself into a kind of meditative state. So to be able to do that just with breathing is really great.
And how was that for you?
I just felt very chilled out, and I totally forgot that I was on a live stream. Closed my eyes and felt very relaxed. 2
things to notice. One, I haven't finished yet because there's another little subtle thing to do, which you'll love. And 2, there's 4 ways to get into the meditative state. So I could just do like a series of 4 days with you, or we could do each of these states, which would be a lot of.
Well, you free next Monday? It's mindful
as Monday
on the moment.
Exactly.
I'll just check with you for the next 4 Mondays. Please come and do exactly.
We can go through those states, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so this is what's great about the breath is that we normally think about the breath as having 2 phases: the in breath and the out breath. And we don't normally think about, there's something very specific about the out breath is when we talk. So just try and talk on an in breath. Now, by the way, I've done this in a talk in a big theatre, and then one person said, "I'm a flautist and I can speak on my in breath," and someone else.
There's always one, isn't there?
Exactly. Oh no, there was 2, because I had someone from Iceland, and the Icelandic people can speak on an in breath as well. You can do it after a bit of practice.
I think they say yes. Then they have a yes sound.
We saw that. We saw exactly that. Yeah, there is a way of saying yes, isn't there, in Northern Europe, where we go.
Like they do it on their in breath.
But they are the exception.
And Jimmy Carr, the comedian in England, he laughs on an in breath as well. It's quite interesting.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? Yes. It's so annoying.
But anyway, so in a group situation, this is a great way of getting everyone in harmony. What you do is you lead the breath, and you get the whole room breathing together, which we kind of did there, if you like, and we'll do that in more detail. But let's do it just now, because there's 2 other aspects to the breathing pattern which get you into a much deeper state, and that's the gap between the in and the out breath, and the gap between the out and the in breath. So let's do another 5 in and out breaths. Don't worry about the hands on the belly this time. So we're just going to breathe in and out, and I want you to focus specifically as you get to the end of the in breath. Focus on the pause, and then as you breathe out, focus on the pause, and let's do that 5 times.
How long would you like us to, sorry to be pedantic, how long would you like us to focus on the pause for?
How long? See, the thing about meditation is people get a bit sort of hung up about the rules. That
Yes.
are
Okay,
no
yeah.
rules. So I've got a meditation somewhere where it's a breathe in for 4, pause for 4 seconds, out for 4, pause for 4 seconds. You can even do longer than that. That takes a bit of practice. So this is a no rules version of it. And obviously people have, if you've not done a lot of yoga and Pilates, and I'm not the fittest person in the world by any stretch of the imagination. You know, if I was doing this with a deep sea diver, they'd probably breathe in for 5 minutes, pause for 5 minutes, breathe out for 5 minutes,
Yes,
pause for 5 minutes. We're not doing that, otherwise you might not be here next Monday.
Exactly.
So there are no,
that.
great question, there are no rules. So just breathe in and pause, out, pause, and just focus on the pauses. There we are. Come back into the room.
Oh,
Nice.
It's magic. It is magic.
The thing is, how many TV broadcasts does everyone shut up?
Not many.
Oh,
Not
we're
many.
very cool about doing
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
we were the first people to kill the dead air.
I love if I may, I'd just like to say hello to Claire Mary and also Donna Marie. Donna Marie's joining us from the Dominican Republic, which is brilliant. Hi Donna. Must be really early where you are. Thanks for joining us. Where are you, Claire Mary? Glad you're able to catch us. You're on your way home from a shift, so I'm just trying to wondering where in the world you are.
Yeah, people are using the moment differently. And
Yeah.
and thank you so much, Tom. A few bliss bombshells in there for me, if I can track back a little bit. Is that all right?
Yeah, I've got something I want to add as well.
And we've got a question from Mother Mulberry as well, or Mother Mulberry's Tea Club anyway. Can tidying up act as a meditation? We'll come back to that.
So.
But there are a number of things you said that I wanted to, because you said them so casually and they are so enlightening and useful, I think. And there was, you can only think about one thing at a time, which I think is quite a revelation, because how we caricature the monkey minds and ourselves when we're busy mentally is that we're thinking about loads of things, but we're actually thinking about one thing. But quite often, I suppose, would be another way of putting it. And that's quite a good way of breaking that down, isn't it? The chaos of the mind. Could you say a bit more about that?
Well, remember, that's only one aspect of our mind. By the way, this is called box breathing. So Mother Mulberry was absolutely right about that. It's got a name, box breathing in yoga. So that's only the self-aware, self-conscious mind, which is just happening in the outer cortex of our brain.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that's been conferred on us about 2 million years ago. This idea that we can have self-talk.
Yes.
And then we can express our thought forms by getting our 6th chakra point to control our 5th chakra point, which is our third eye, effectively controlling our 5th. We don't give that a second thought these days, do we?
Do we?
Yeah. And we don't think, hey, I'm just doing this on an out breath. Just doing this on an out, what I mean? We don't think of those things. But as soon as you think of those things, the monkey mind immediately stops, because it's now thinking about the thing that it was thinking about. Now, we've got myriads of other thought forms in our body. We've got the sort of love thought forms, the gut thought forms. We've got the ideas that come off the top of our head, literally, or through the back of our mind.
Yeah.
And depending on which 6 senses you tune into the most, I'm quite claircognizant. I just know stuff I didn't know I knew. Other people see things. I know, Louisa, you'd be clairsentient, so you'll feel things. But these things come in as non-verbal communication. And these things are really, really important. You know, that thing where you say, oh, I really wish I'd trusted my gut on this, or I didn't follow my heart and stuff like that. That these other mind centers are in communication with us all the time. They work slightly ahead of time, funnily enough. And they're always right. Yeah. But because the head's so busy, 2 things happen. One, we ignore these little signs that are coming in. We ignore the signs that are coming in from the collective consciousness, well, these ideas and all that stuff. And also, by having a busy mind, you miss all the serendipitous moments, all those lovely synchronicities that are going on around us all the time.
Yes. And that perhaps is the best advert for meditation altogether, isn't it? But that by calming, well, that was the other thing you said. People have an idea, and again, a caricature of meditation, which is about what they think meditation is. And you had a very good distinction there about it not being calming the mind or stilling the mind, but being more aware of actually what's going on, which in turn can make it calmer, right? Could you elaborate on how you put it better than I did just then?
Yeah, it's not about having no thought at all.
Yeah.
It's about having a different relationship with your thoughts.
There you go.
Yeah.
Which is, well, so what would be the point of that, and how might that benefit people, having that different relationship in your experience of teaching that?
Well, we could, as you know, we could be talking for hours on this. It's because,
give me that question.
Because
I'll ask you that next week.
It's because not all thoughts are necessarily what we think of as our own.
Yeah, yes. Right. Yeah, who does this belong to?
Yeah, yes. we're always asking ourselves.
So I'll give you a good example of that. All my books come from the future. They come from this bloke in the future called Tom Evans, who knows the words that Tom Evans in the now hasn't written yet. Yes. And if Tom Evans in the now is really, really busy, it'll block these thought forms coming from the future, from the bloke that knows what's in the book you're just about to write. Yeah. And then the same would be true if you were Nostradamus or Jules Verne or someone going into the far future, right? When you might not be tuning into your incarnate same version of yourself because you're not around anymore. So you've got to tune into someone else. It's a great way of being prescient about what's going on in the future. And what happens when we do that? Like Gene Roddenberry in Star Trek thought about having these communicators, and now we've got communicators, haven't we? We've all got a phone that communicates with each other. So today, I love the way that today's science fiction becomes tomorrow's fiction. Today's metaphysics becomes tomorrow's physics.
And how we have set things up, or how we think about them and continue to think about them and reinforce them. Interestingly, we've got God forgive us, Louisa's grandfather, who gave us the children's encyclopedia, which the monitor is sitting on. Yeah. Now that is a perfectly acceptable way of reading the past, isn't it? People laid down thoughts, printed them, and made books of the past. That's just a thing we completely accept now, which in its day would have been quite extraordinary. I suppose
I did my homework with those.
Yeah, the first few would have been amazing. And what you're proposing, Tom, does sound like out there, because it is out there, isn't it? It's out there as an idea, and it's not something many people do, or if they do, it doesn't get talked about very much. It's not a mainstream understanding. But there's no reason why that couldn't be embraced wholesale and culturally as a thing. And you're part of doing that, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a course that does it, but it doesn't matter if it's real or not. Is that if you imagine it's real and it actually brings a real world result, then that's real enough for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Same here. And as I suspect it is, that sense of reality, the new reality, is good enough for many people watching this live now, and when they see it later on. Yeah, that's a great new definition and grasp of reality, isn't it? It's kind of made real, isn't it, rather than an objective out there reality, if you like.
Yeah, there's a guy called Bill Lau that I interviewed ages ago, and he just said it only has to be true enough. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. When I was studying timeline therapy, NLP, and hypnosis, it really didn't matter if we were like getting the right stories. You know, like sometimes, you know, when they go into a process, all of a sudden this memory comes up from the past, and you know, some people might say, did that really happen? I'm not entirely sure if it happened or not. And you could like study the veracity, the truth of that particular belief or experience. But what I normally find is what is coming up in the unconscious mind is the story that is going to help us through what we're working on. So like take everything at face value, I think really helps, rather than like questioning everything, because then it can, you know, get a bit, you can talk yourself out of that relaxing moment.
You can, can't you? And the effect that is created or caused is what's real. It would be one definition, isn't it? What's happening now is real. And in this amazing kaleidoscopic view of the world, or understanding or broadening out, we are in a cycle of generating the next reality and the next reality and the next moment. And we can intervene and hack that, which is, I think, what essentially one of the things you enable people to do, Tom.
Well, you very kindly introduced me as a master manifestor. Let's just talk about manifestation and all that sort of stuff. So classically, you might have like a vision board, or you might write some goals down, or what they call SMART goals and things like that. And the issue with doing that is that you're manifesting what you can currently imagine. So if there's a future for you out there, which is wilder than your wildest dreams. The best way to manifest it is to go into the future when it's being manifested, write it down. So, oh, that's a nice future I've just had there. Write it down. I do it fictionally. And then you get entangled with that perfect future version of you and get drawn towards it. And then this is the magical thing, is that you don't know. I didn't know last year that I really needed to have a TV show. And I didn't know this was all about the new reality, but I knew that I needed some more exposure for some of the work that I'm doing in this new reality, because now is the time, as you quite rightly recognize. And so, but I didn't know it was going to come in this form, and in the wonderful form of Will and Karen, that are the brains and the genius behind new reality. And then we've been able to share the space with you two guys as well, which we've been doing on and off. May the 4th was the day, wasn't it? May the 4th.
Oh yeah, May the 4th be with you. Yeah. The day we got married.
By the way, I was quite grumpy about being outed as a wizard at your wedding.
Oh, sorry.
And only I thought, it's too early. I don't want to come out just yet. What if my parents are alive? What if they find out about it?
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Right. Some lovely comments and interesting comments coming in. Learned about something called Bushman letters. I've not heard of those. Thank you for introducing us to those. MMTC this morning, which fits into Carl Jung's interpretation of intuitive introverts. I suspect there's one or two of those.
I'd love to know more about that, because I'm both the intuitive and the introvert, but I'm also extroverted as well. But I would love to know.
It does sound alluring.
I want to know more. You've piqued my interest.
Gabriella here as well this morning, or this afternoon for us now. Well, here now. I'll just without judging the time of day. Let's call it now.
Yeah.
And Gabriella, I think agreeing with something you've uttered there.
I think that was about going into the future and things being quite interesting, and
the future beyond your wildest dreams, as Tom put it there.
I must apologise to Donna Marie as well.
It's Dominican, not the Dominican.
I need to. I was only sat with an atlas and my daughter last night.
These things
I need to. Yes,
nav.
they do.
Yeah,
I do need to work that out.
And Mother Mulberry's Tea Club also thinking that Mundane Magic Mondays might be quite nice with you, Tom, if you can do these and take us into the week in this way.
I really like the idea of mundane magic. Like the idea of keeping everything sort of practical, straightforward. Available. And also, available.
Yes, absolutely.
Really available.
Yeah. Well, and Tom's our man for that, for that sort of access. I think I'm not sure of the right word, Tom. Easy would be one of them, but you are making, well, this is something I've heard you say before. You're making the esoteric exoteric. You're making what has seemed difficult to human beings or fantastical quite normal and doable if they are so inclined and want to make the effort. I think, is that fair, Tom?
Yeah, and also it's making it safe and practical and making it real world. So a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching comes from study I did with 2 esoteric schools, which was great fun from my perspective, but it didn't actually go anywhere. It didn't yield what I call real world results, apart from I had a nice time and some weird experiences. And so what I do is really make it practical, so you can learn these arcane secrets, so-called arcane secrets, sprinkle in a bit of modern day psychology and neuroscience and that sort of stuff, and then come up with solutions for your life that make it blissful and magical. What seems like magical, obviously, when you learn a magical trick, it's not magic at all. But imagine just having a world where you wake up and then the whole day in front of you is more magical than the day that you had the day before, and then that repeats and repeats and repeats. That's kind of the new reality that I want to introduce to the world, and I'm doing that through the show I've got on new realities called Practical Alchemy. So
when can people see that, Tom?
It's kind of I've literally just been finishing off this school, which I've just finished, funny enough, this morning.
Congratulations. It's very good timing.
There's a couple of sample shows already. There's an introduction that I did, and then I interviewed this amazing lady I'd like you to introduce you to, called Susie Pearl, who had an interview with her on there. She had inoperable brain cancer, went to the light and came back with no cancer and no scars, no remnants at all. And she's writing a book about that right now. She's an amazing person. So
I'd love to.
I've heard of her. I don't know if you mentioned it, but Susie Pearl, that's a name you remember, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, she's a very special lady. So I've got that was a show I recorded before Numerality was a reality. So I just popped it up there, and then I've now just got the school I've been working on for the 15 years and 15 lifetimes just went live this morning. So I'll start to put some more shows out on Numerality over the next few weeks.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Excellent stuff. Okay, Hugh is also here now. Just started pruning vines today in gorgeous sunshine. Well, that can be very meditative.
I was about to say that's my form of meditation, doing it in the garden and being
I've got a track called The Art of Winefulness.
Winefulness. Okay.
Exactly.
Maybe you need to come and talk to our Good Morning Portugal Wine Club about that. I don't want to miss this earlier question, and we can connect it with pruning vines, can't we? Yeah. Active meditation. Can tidying up act as a meditation? Which takes us to the Banana Rama song, doesn't it? It ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. Is that the key to it? Is how you might approach this, Tom? Any activity, whether it's tidying up or pruning?
Yeah, anything that doesn't engage the conscious mind. So painting a wall, going through shuffling a deck of cards. Classically, it'd be a rosary beads or something like that. You just go through the beads and repeat something. So anything where your conscious mind doesn't have to engage with it, then that can get you into the meditative state. For example, you drive somewhere, a familiar route, then you get into a low-level meditation when you do that sort of thing. So tidying up, as long as it's not stressing you out, would be a good meditation.
Well, and demanding certain kinds of processing and resources.
Yeah. What have I got to do with this? Should I throw it out? Shouldn't I throw it out? That kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I've joked about this new setup that we've got here. It's like being in the car with Mrs. M. Which we've got this console between us here, and it's said, isn't it, for when wives want to speak to husbands, it's good to speak to them when they're driving. And is that something to do with what you've just said? Is that they're engaged in something that's taking resources and making their mind open to some of the advice, let's call it advice, that their wives want to offer them in that moment?
It depends how much backseat driving is going on, but and how much, and if there's a new navigation process going on, like you're trying to learn a new way, then it can get a bit sort of awkward. But if you're doing a familiar route, then it's a good way to get in things.
Very good. Slide things into the consciousness or the subconscious. Donna, me too. This is creating. Well, let's start here with Donna Marie. Yes, that's what I did. Lots as a child, imagined a better future, and we'll be talking to Donna Marie about that because it is a wonderful story.
She's got a very transforming story, hasn't she?
Yeah. Donna Me Too says Mother Mulberry's Tea Club, but now I've started writing a fantasy novel. You should also speak to Tom about that.
Actually,
help my manifesting.
I see that Mother Mulberry's going to. We'll tag you guys once I've built the courage to start.
Yep. Well, let us know how that goes.
Talking about the Bushman letters. So I think we do need to have a conversation with you at some point, Mother Mulberry.
All right, and starting paranormal experiences. We're running out of time.
Okay, I would like to just
about a minute to go, Mrs.
Okay, I would just quickly like to chip in, Tom. What advice would you give to somebody, who is wanting to find the courage to start creating more in their life?
Well, one thing you can do is to write about the fear. So you can use the writing process as catharsis. And what a great thing to do, by the way, is to, if you are writing and you've got a fear that's blocking you, because before I did all this sort of meditation teacher stuff or whatever, the mystical stuff I'm doing now, I was an author's mentor. And what you can do is just put it into the third person. So you write about she or he. And I even helped someone write something. She had a problem with eating and a relationship with food and her parents. So she translated that to being a family of mice. So just take it out of the framework it's currently in and write about it. And once you don't have to publish it, but just write about it. It gets it out of the system onto a page.
Need to leave it there. Thank you so much. Please rewatch this and go through Tom's meditative process that he showed us earlier on. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much.
We'll see you this time next week.
Ciao.